Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania, welcome to Robert's Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. GCW Homecoming Night 1. This is the show from Saturday night. We crowned a new GCW World Heavyweight Champion. We had a couple of surprise appearances in the show. We had a little bit of everything. We had the death matches, we had the scrambles, we had the ladders, doors, and chairs match. Alright, first match on the card, we had Zilla Fatu taking on Matthew Justice. Justice started off with the chairs fighting Fatu. Fatu was able to take it to Matthew Justice, fight through the chairs. At one point, Matthew Justice does a crossbody off the top rope, and Fatu caught him. Fatu chucked him. Matthew Justice did a over the top rope dive through a door bridge. Yeah, this got violent. Fatu got busted open. But at the end of all that, 9 minutes 23 seconds, winner Zilla Fatu. Now this guy's got less than 25 matches on his resume right now. 26 to be exact on Cage Match. From Reality of Wrestling to GCW to one match in House of Glory, where he won the House of Glory Crown Jewel Championship, which he should be defending that coming up. So yeah, he is getting reps in between Reality Wrestling, GCW, and then the House of Glory when he does eventually make his way to WWE to join the Bloodline. I'm confident he is on the path to do that. Next up, we had Sidney Akeem, one of the best high flyers in professional wrestling, versus one of the best technical wrestlers in professional wrestling, Tony Deppen, the GCW gatekeeper, as he's called. These two were just the mix of two styles, the high flying style versus the technical style. Tony Deppen was choking Sidney with a scarf. Sidney Akeem was able to do a backflip into a cutter. Yeah. It's just some of the moves you see some of these guys do. It's like, what just happened? One of those moves you can just rewind and go, wow, okay, cool. But yeah, these two put on a pretty damn good show. 9 minutes and 48 seconds, 3.5-star match with Sidney Akeem remaining undefeated in Game Changer Wrestling. Next up, we had Brandon Kirk and Catal, Kirk, the Kirks, taking on Los Macizos, Ciclope, and Miedo, Extremo. Now these two, it got extreme. We had the door bridges. We had this contraption that was made of barbed wire. So it had like wood around it, and there was like a barbed wire net. It was like a barbed wire trampoline almost, but it didn't have bounce to it. You end up having Kasey, Catal going into this. You also had Ciclope going into this contraption thing with the barbed wire. You had him going through door bridges. It was just one of those kind of just death matches almost. Just had the barbed wire and everything, door bridges galore. At the end of it, after 9 minutes and 47 seconds, you had Brandon Kirk and Kasey Catal getting the victory over Los Macizos, the former GCW Tag Team Champions Los Macizos, in a 3.5-star match. Next up, we had a death match. Not that that wasn't a death match, but we had an actual death match next. We had Big fucking Joe taking on John Wayne Murdoch, the Duke, the legend of deathmatch wrestling. When John Wayne Murdoch brings a weed eater to the ring, it's about to get real. Lots of light tubes. They had boxes of light tubes. We had just all kinds of panes of glasses and just tubes. And sometimes, I know a lot of people may not like the style, but you take a light tube and just sit there and beat each other with them. I like it when they grab a bundle of light tubes and they lay it on their chest and do stuff off the top rope through the light tubes. We had that. We had John Wayne Murdoch sticking a light tube almost up the ass of Big F and Joe. Yeah, really. One of the broken ones, he picked it up and just stuck it in his ass almost. So, Big F and Joe had already got back body dropped onto the glass. So he had glass up his tidy whities. These guys went just nuts with glass. At the end of it, the weed eater really didn't come into play, which I was kind of disappointed in because I like it when they fire the old weed eater up and go after somebody. But Big F and Joe get the victory, 3.5-star winner of that death match. Next up, we had Masha Slamovich taking on Galeno Del Mal. If you watched the show, my shows at all for GCW, you know Galeno Del Mal is one of my favorite wrestlers. Really get into the style he has. He's a big luchador. Dr. Wagner Jr. from Mexico, it's his son. So he's got the pedigree in this business of professional wrestling. He's got the size, and he's a luchador. So it's like, holy cow. But you know what? The striking ability of Masha Slamovich. Now, Masha Slamovich is going to defend the JCW Championship at the JCW Up All Night show that starts at midnight on Saturday night, which I still need to watch. She is actually defending the title versus Broski Jimmy. So because of that, Broski Jimmy actually came out at this match, was trying to distract Masha so Galeno Del Mal would get the victory. Unfortunately, it didn't really distract her, and she just pissed her off, and she took Broski Jimmy out. She took Galeno Del Mal out, and in 10 minutes and 14 seconds, Masha Slamovich won this match in a 3.25-star match. Next up, one of the former WWE releases, Jinder Mahal, currently known as Raj Dhesi, who showed up in Game Changer Wrestling wearing a mask with his two thugs wearing a mask, and they attacked Effy and Alley Catch. So we had a 6-man tag. We had Raj Dhesi teaming up with the Bollywood boys, Gurv Sihra and Harv Sihra, taking on Thrussy, which is Dark Sheik and Effy, and their good friend, one called Manders. So 6-person tag match where steel chairs got involved, but you know what? The power of Raj Dhesi was almost too much for the group until Manders was able to get the power slam Dhesi through a table, which helped Effy end up ultimately getting the victory and getting the pinfall over the Bollywood boys. So Effy getting the pin on, I believe it was Gurv Sihra. I gave the match 2 3/4 star. I just didn't find a lot of, we're going to do this to continue the story. It was just a lot of the power of Raj Dhesi and outpowering Effy and outpowering Dark Sheik, and Manders was on the outside at some points. So it just didn't have, I was expecting more from this match. But I love the fact that one called Manders and Thrussy was able to get the victory. Next up, we had Danhausen taking on UltraMantis Black. Danhausen did his typical Danhausen moves. He had his jar of teeth. He lifted UltraMantis Black's mask up and poured the teeth in his throat like he does. This match seemed like it just went by pretty quick. It ended up being 7 minutes and 37 seconds. I believe it's maybe one of the shorter matches on the card, like the third shortest. Seemed like it wasn't that long even. But we had a couple big moves to the outside. Nothing really spectacular with it. Danhausen getting the victory. I ended up giving that 2 3/4 as well. Next up, we had Megan Bayne in her open challenge match. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 challengers to Megan Bayne. First off, we had Vipers come out. Thought we were going to have a one-on-one Vipers versus Megan Bayne. And then Sawyer Rex music hits. Oh, cool, we're going to have a triple threat match. This is cool. And then we had the ultimate surprise. We had the TNA Knockout Women's Champion, Knockout Heavyweight Champion, Jordynne Grace, show up on Game Changer Wrestling in a Fatal 4-Way match now versus Megan Bayne, Sawyer Rex, and Vipers. This is the same Knockout Champion, Jordynne Grace, who beat Megan Bayne at VXS Arrival 2 on the 23rd. So that story of them two battling continue. That's why she was the surprise entrance here. We have TNA Knockout Champion Jordynne Grace on TNA. We have her on VXS. We have her in NXT. We have her in WWE this year, Prestige Wrestling this year. No one else can say they've been on WWE, NXT, TNA, Prestige, and GCW this year, recently. While under contract to TNA, she's been in WWE. Wow. What an impressive match this was with her doing all that. I still have to go back and now watch that VXS match because I did not realize it was a TNA Knockout World Title match. Jordynne Grace taking on Megan Bayne. Yes, please. I want that one-on-one. I wish this would have been one-on-one. But as it was awesome. Yes, it was. We had Megan Bayne overpowering Viperess, overpowering Sawyer Rack, not quite overpowering Jordynne Grace. At one point we had Viperess on the shoulders of Sawyer Rack was on Jordynne Grace's shoulders, Viperess was on Megan Bayne's shoulders, and they're fighting above each other. This match was only 10 minutes and 45 seconds long, but it was a hell of a match between these four wrestlers. 3.5-star match with Megan Bayne getting the victory. Sawyer Rack ended up going outside the ring, grabbing the TNA Knockouts Championship, and just looking at it. Jordynne Grace came over to confront her. We ended up with Sawyer Rack carrying, like a baby, Jordynne Grace out of the arena. So, Megan Bayne getting the victory here. I now want Megan Bayne to go to TNA and have some matches with Jordynne Grace. I want Jordynne Grace coming back to Game Changer Wrestling having matches with Sawyer Rack. I'm all in on this. Give this match 3.5-star with Megan Bayne getting the victory. Next up, we had Brett Lauderdale actually came out and said that Nick Gage wasn't going to be here. Some things were going on. Never said what was going on, so we don't know for sure if he's injured, hurt, sick, what exactly happened. But let's have a death match. Drew Parker versus Nick Gage. No Nick Gage. Drew Parker came out, was going to start a death match with someone. Brandon Kirk stepped up to have this death match. We had panes of glass out there. We had 2 big old boxes of tubes out there. We had some door bridges out there. We had a little bit of everything out there. We had 2 guys going at it for, it's only 6 minutes and 25 seconds of just glass shattering. Not only the tubes and the dust from the tubes, the 2 panes of glasses got shattered. You had Drew Parker all bloody. You had just everything in this match here. I ended up giving it 3.25 with Drew Parker beating Brandon Kirk in his second match of the night. Then we just calmed it all down. We had a 6-way scramble match after calming it down from that death match. We had Alec Price taking on Dustin Waller, taking on Virgo Del Sol, Griffin McCoy, Jack Cartwheel, and Mr. Danger. Whew. Who knew a 6-way scramble match would just calm it all down for a minute? Honestly, this match was just as billed. We had just high flyers just taking off and diving and doing all kinds of crazy shit. 3.25, and I ended up getting it 10 minutes and 34 seconds with Alec Price getting the victory. And then we had the main event, the GCW World Title on the line. Champion Mance Warner taking on still champion, not crowned, was stripped of it, Blake Christian, who still thinks he's champion, former champion Joey Janela, the bad boy. We had the 3 of them fighting it out. We had doors, we had ladders, we had chairs. It looked like a TLC match, and actually there was one table. We actually had a table. We don't have those in GCW very often. They pulled out everything here to have a table. Joey came off the ladder to crash through the table on the outside. And then we had Steph Delander come out and attack Blake Christian. Then we had Megan Bayne come out and attack Steph Delander. Now, Steph Delander is the girlfriend of Mance Warner, also the associate of Matt Cardona, the general manager. Megan Bayne is the friend and tag team partner of the bad boy Joey Janela. So that's what brought them all out. Then you had Megan Bayne, who had got hit with a screwdriver in the eye by Mance Warner. Get the screwdriver from Mance Warner, actually hit Mance Warner with the screwdriver. You had, because they were all out there, the associates, you had Billy Christian's associate come out, which is Shane Mercer. Shane Mercer climbs the ladder with carrying Megan Bayne like a sack of potatoes. Does a moonsault and battery from the top of the ladder to the ring. When Megan Bayne hit, she bounced a good 2 foot in the air. It was one of the biggest moonsault and batteries I've ever seen Shane Mercer do. Then you had Matt Cardona come out and go, okay, I'm the general manager. I'm now making this a fatal 4-way that involves me. And then, of course, you had Effy come out and attack Matt Cardona and attack Mance Warner because of their history. You had then you had music hit. You had Effy looking at the entranceway. We thought it was Tony Deppen's music. Now, if I remember correctly, Tony Deppen does Cole Roderick's music. Cole Roderick has a brass ring #1 contender. We thought he was coming in to cash that out. All of a sudden, you see a figure coming through the crowd. It was the one and only John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL, at Game Changer Wrestling. He comes in and attacks Effy. Helped Mance Warner walk up the ladder, take down the remaining title, because there was 2 titles hanging there at one point. After all that, 32 minutes and 5 seconds. And still, Game Changer Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, Mance Warner. The fact we had JBL in the ring with Matt Cardona, because he came down to congratulate his associate with Broski Jimmy. They're shaking hands with JBL. And then JBL announced, I guess he's joining AAA to do some stuff. So, do we get to see JBL again in Game Changer Wrestling? Let's hope so. Do we get to see Jordynne Grace again in GCW? Let's hope so. But yeah, it was a match. It was a show. It was just a wild show, wild and crazy. Homecoming weekend. Cannot wait to see what night 2 brings us. I can't even, to the life of me right now, after everything that went down here, remember the matches on night 2. So we have the GCW Up All Night that started at midnight on Saturday. That has the JCW title, Broski Jimmy and Masha Slamovich. Looks like we have Alec Price and Mr. Danger. That should be a good match. On Homecoming night 2, some of the lead matches are going to be Joey Janela and Matt Hardy taking on Broski Jimmy and Matt Cardona. That should have been Nick Gage teaming up with Matt Hardy. Don't know what's going on with Nick Gage. Brett Lauderdale did say that he will be out. When he does come back, he has a home at Game Changer Wrestling, so don't know what's going on there. Looks like we got Masha Slamovich taking on Megan Bayne, John Wayne Murdoch and Alec Price. Should be good. Ooh, Speedball Mike Bailey and Zilla Fatu in a hardcore match? What? So yeah, it looks like night 2 should be damn good. I haven't watched it yet. We'll watch it tomorrow and do that review. Stay tuned for AEW is All In. That is Game Changer Wrestling Homecoming Day 1. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. From the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. Don't just have a great night. Have a spiffy night. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.